Charbel, you'll be singing that Sri Lankan national anthem tomorrow as loudly as you can. That game, Australia, the talks are about how easy or how big of a margin they can win this game by. And then there was talks about whether they could win at all. Rashid Khan played an absolute blinder, and blimey, what a game that was. This T20 World Cup just keeps on producing game after game after game that we can remember forever. And
Yeah.
what did you make of that? And what do you think are the chances that Sri Lanka could actually beat England tomorrow?
Uh, yeah, you'd think I'd have my heart in my mouth in that game, but I've worn black tonight to mourn the death of Australia's T20 World Cup campaign. Nah, it's done. It's done because, look, first of all, when you consider, I'll talk about Australia's performance in a sec, but first of all, when you consider tomorrow that Sri Lanka now are out of the World Cup, so how are they gonna, how motivated are they gonna be? They can't make it anymore. And guess who is the Sri Lanka coach? What nationality is he? Someone came up to me on Twitter. Someone came up to
But
me on
in the end,
Twitter saying that.
it'll be who Sri Lanka hates more.
True, I guess, but we're going to be relying on a team now who's out of contention to make the semi-finals. And you know what? We don't deserve to, if I'm honest. Like it's just been
Oh,
an
absolutely not.
ordinary
Absolutely not.
campaign, and that was another very ordinary performance tonight. That was really, really poor. Yeah.
Absolutely. And David Warner, what do you make of his dismissal?
That just sums it up, doesn't it? Like it's just been ordinary. And then the final overs, the finish with the bat, and then the start with the ball. Afghanistan lost that game tonight. Australia didn't win it. It was Afghanistan who
Yeah,
lost it
absolutely.
with some
Absolutely.
really brainless cricket there in the middle. Um, and oh, mate, don't get me started on was Mitchell Stark injured or they dropped him? I'm getting word that
I
he was
think they just
dropped.
they just dropped him.
He's
They
the
just
one.
dropped him instead
He's the
of
one bowler in that
instead of Pat
side who
Cummins. Yeah.
he's the one bowler in that side who can blast the opposition out, and you need to because you have to win by a big margin. So,
Absolutely. And
oh
but
mate,
what is the what where is the team lacking? Is it poor planning? Is it poor
yeah.
execution?
Look, I think
What exactly is happening?
it's a combination of things. You know, good reply on Twitter. So I said there was another really shit performance. Don't deserve to make the semi-finals, and you know, I think it's a good thing now that if we don't make the semi-finals, it'll force a bit of a refresh. I think we need a bit of a refresh. And we did win the World Cup last year, but let's be real. We had a good the favor of the toss and being able to chase in all of those games. And I know we played well in the World Cup last year, but being able to chase was a major advantage. I think we've been exposed a little bit in this tournament, and we may have seen the last of quite a few players in T20 internationals. And just look at a refresh.
Name some of those players if you can name
Finch,
some of those players.
Finch, potentially Cummins. I'd say potentially Matt Wade now, potentially even David Warner, because we don't play
Wow,
another.
that's a big call. That's a big
The
call.
reason why I say that is because we don't play another T20 apparently until August next year. And
Yeah,
Warner is what, 36, 37 now.
yeah.
So um, when you consider he plays the T20 leagues, still plays Test cricket and one day cricket with a World Cup next year. What priorities are you going to have for T20 internationals? He may make the decision
Yeah.
to call it quits. I don't think we'll drop him. It's on him. I think he might make the decision. Who else do I think? If you don't pick Stark for this game, does that mean the end for him as well? That's another thing. that's another thing to consider. So I think there's a few. There's a few there that may have played their last T20 international. So I think it's time for a refresh.
And if you had to sum up this entire campaign,
Yeah.
for Australia, if you had to sum it up, where 3 points, like, give me 3 points where they seriously lacked.
Uh, I'd say execution over a long period of time. We've had a few good moments, but it's been really poor overall. Like, for example, today we had the opportunity to get a bigger score. You know, with a good finish, we didn't do it. Same against Ireland. We had good periods and then couldn't finish off the job effectively enough. You know, we had them 25 for 5. They ended up getting 130 odd. And then against Sri Lanka, that was ordinary. If it wasn't for Marcus Stoinis, we may not even have won that game. So it's only been snippets of good performances here and there. Overall, it's been really, really ordinary. That's one, not being able to finish the job well. Of course, I go back to that 89 run loss to New Zealand. That's, I think, going to cost us in the end in terms
I
of net
think
run rate.
that really hurt Australia
Yeah,
a lot,
yeah,
like more than anything else.
yeah,
That if that 89 loss was more like a 15-10 run
yeah.
loss,
Limit the
um,
damage.
yeah, it would have been much tighter between England and Sri Lanka as well then tomorrow with the net run rate.
Yes, yes. It's just been like that. The key moments that I talked about that they've hurt us, stuff like that, and then conceding 20 in the last over against Sri Lanka, not finishing the job well against Ireland, and as well, I think really inconsistent batting. We had problems heading into the World Cup, losing too many wickets too quickly. I think that's been the case again here. Yeah, just really, really disappointing. And it's just been a disappointing campaign overall for Australia. I look at the level of fan engagement. I look at the crowds for Australia games. I don't know what you make of it. It's quite concerning. I'm currently writing an article as to why that might be the case. I'm putting some reasons together as to why the fans haven't turned up in numbers for this World Cup for Australia's campaign. Because overall, it's just been really flat and disappointing. It really has.
Yeah. And I think, and you're right, you're 100% right. Like as someone who has seen the work more closely as to what goes on behind the scenes of the
Yeah.
ticket sales and all that stuff, it has been poor.
Mm.
The response has been poor from the public as well. I don't know what exactly the reason is. Maybe
I'd
because people
say
are still in
I
that some not in the summer mood, where
that's
summer
probably
is
one
more
time of the year.
December and January, for the Australian public, having resided in Australia for the last 8 years. It's sort of, once it gets to December, it's more the summer feeling. Yes, Christmas is here, Boxing Day sale, Boxing Day test match. Everything is about cricket, even with the club cricket going on. It's now with La Nina as well, yeah, the famous La Nina. It's still somewhere like everyone is not in the cricket mood as such. And maybe that's the case. But coming back to the team that was picked today, just wanted to get your thoughts on having Cam Green and Marcus Stoinis in the same side, and do you see that going forward? Because both are on par in terms of, if you speak about their proficiency, like they're both fast bowling or medium pace all rounders,
Yeah.
and they both can hit the ball
Mm.
hard and field well, bowl well. So do you see them playing together in the same 11 going forward?
Yeah, I do, because of the different roles they've got with the bat. So Green is a top order, top opening player who can score very quickly in the power play, as we've seen. And then Stoinis is that middle order finisher kind of player as well. So that's why I see them both in the side. It obviously depends on conditions and where we play. Again, I think it's a long time before we play the next T20 international. If we don't make the semi-finals, and I think we won't, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I see them both playing together. I think, yeah, it's just overall, man, it's just like
Plus Mitchell Marsh.
Mitch Marsh had a poor tournament. He's going to be under the spotlight too. I know he won us the final last year, but I don't know. Um, yeah, we'll just have to see there, because the next World Cup's 2024, yeah?
That's correct.
And that's in
Yes.
the Caribbean. Pitches might be slow there.
I think, yeah, yeah.
Pitches
I
might be
think you
slow there.
might
So
see the likes of Adam Zampa and Mitchell Swepson more during that
yeah,
World
you
Cup,
got to
and even
start.
Ashton Agar.
Yeah, start thinking about how you're going to put your team together
Yeah.
for that tournament. Yeah, because yeah, I think we do need a refresh. And I have to say now that the World Cup last year masked over a few cracks, um, in that sense, because yeah, there's just a lot of flaws still in that T20 setup. Funny you mentioned team management, because I wanted to touch on this as well. I believe since Justin Langer was unfairly sacked, I found it very, as a lot of the Australian public did, and they still talk about it now. The public, you see a lot of the comments on social media talking about Justin Langer's sacking and how these players have got such a sense of entitlement and such control that's really hurt the fans' perception of the team. Maybe that's a reason why they're not getting behind them as much as well. I
Yeah.
don't think the fans have been happy. A lot of people have got offside with the team because of that. And I'll have to say that the performances have gradually got worse this year under McDonald. I don't know if you
Yeah.
feel the same way watching Australia. I
I
don't
think
think we've
so.
been
I
great.
think
I don't
so.
think we've been great.
Yeah.
This season, I go back to the start of the season, right? We go back to the one days against Zimbabwe back in August. We lost the game in that series. We batted terribly, right? Against New Zealand, we batted terribly, but New Zealand forgot how to win, so we won that series 3-0. And then unconvincing against West Indies, very poor against England in the series before the World Cup, and then you have the World Cup campaign like this. It's been a very poor season so far.
Yeah.
And then when Cricket Australia decides to put all of the matches for Australia, like especially in the bilaterals, behind a paywall, people wonder why the engagement is so low.
Hmm.
You know, you want to make cricket
And
accessible in this
that is
country.
one thing. Exactly, that is one thing. Which I never agreed with is some of the prime cricket is behind a paywall.
Yep.
It isn't on free to air. You have to pay $28 for a month to watch Kayo Sports, which is Fox. And then I'm not even sure if the World Cup was streamed on Channel 7.
It was on like not Channel 9, the main channel, a lot of the games. It was on like
Yeah,
line 9 Gem, so the secondary channel.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly,
not even that. And how would the average fan know that? Fans
exactly.
like
Yeah,
myself, you and me,
absolutely,
we follow the game very closely and we cover it and all that. So we know.
absolutely.
But say that you're talking about the average fan here trying to engage them.
Yeah,
We had one
more
days
the
over the years.
casual fan who is
Correct.
just
The casual fan. We
clicking the
had
channel and just stumbles upon the game
100%.
and yeah,
I'm writing an article at the moment as to why engagement might be low. And that's exactly
yeah,
the point I come across is they switched the Channel 9 on as it was over the years. The cricket's on. We've got it on. The cricket's
yeah,
on. Everyone, don't change the channel.
absolutely,
It's time for the cricket. It's summer.
yeah,
Um, for one dayers over the years, one day internationals, we call it a dead format now. That used to get close to 1 million viewers,
absolutely,
games like that.
yeah,
In terms of the ratings. Now, what do you get? They're all stuck behind a paywall. People don't even know it's on. There was a
yeah,
West Indies T20 last month on the Gold Coast. No one turned up and no one knew it was on.
yeah,
It's not right. It's not right for the engagement. And the performance of the team is really crappy as well. We see what happened with Justin Langer, all that sort of stuff is just you struggle to attract the average casual fan when you have a strategy like this. This broadcast deal has been a shocker.
yeah,
Channel 7 can't wait to get out of it as well. So who knows what the next broadcast deal is going to be? It might be even worse. It might be
yeah,
even worse. If Channel 10 get it, that's where sport goes to die most of the time. Who else is going to get it? Is it going to be a streaming company? It's like
yeah,
in addition to the World Cup performances here, I worry about how you're engaging the supporters in this country. It needs serious looking at from Cricket Australia. They looked at the
yeah,
$1.2
absolutely.
billion of this broadcast deal. They killed the Big Bash in the process. Full home and away season, destroyed it. Destroyed it.
Yeah,
Another key
and
reason.
that's
Yeah, just one thing I'll say.
and
Another key reason
yeah, yeah.
why
Go
I think
ahead.
engagement has been low. There's been T20 overkill. So many
Yeah,
games. Too
yeah,
much.
absolutely. And I'll accept that they tried to go the BCCI or the IPL route. You can say with
I couldn't
with
accept it.
home
You
and
might accept
away
it.
and
You might accept it. I can't.
yeah. No, no, I'm not saying I accept because I've seen both markets. I've lived in both markets, and
Mm,
they are completely different. They are opposite. Like if anything, in
of
India
course.
you will have a casual fan. My wife is a casual fan who will just watch a game and enjoys a game of cricket every now and then. Who will watch the India Pakistan game, for example. But Australia is more you have a cricket fan or you don't have a cricket fan. That there's no at the moment a casual fan as such who will
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
watch a game for the sake of it. I've
True.
seen
True.
kids turn up at Sheffield Shield games, under 15s who are really passionate about their cricket. They turn up at domestic games, but that's about it. That's four or five, and somewhere along CA Cricket Australia and the management saw that, okay, IPL is getting so much money with, with full more games and more ticket sales and more sponsorship deals because more exposure. And they tried to go down that path, but they forgot about somewhere along the line, they forgot about the Australian market and, you know, um, why they are doing it. It's more to get the kids engaged. It's more to reach to the kids, to the family, to those 5 to 12-year-old key demographic. And they kept games at 7 o'clock, 7:30 when it's almost bedtime. And I was speaking to a few parents, and they said, "Oh, it's just too hard to get on a Thursday night if you're keeping a game at 7:30. We can't get there as a family."
Yep.
And that's where it's been lacking. And as you said, it does need to be looked at, because when it was 10 games a season, for each team, it was not even maybe 5 years
It
ago,
was
I
it was
think.
eight games a season, just one, yeah, just the not the full home and away season. Everyone played each
Yeah.
other once, and maybe
But
one
then
team
we
played
had
each
like
other
a
twice.
10 game season as well
Yeah,
for each team, where it was the perfect amount of games. Everyone got something out of it. It was not a quick season, it was not a long season. It was it hit the right spot. And you get the crowds, because crowds um were afraid of missing out on a good
yeah,
Big Bash
100%,
season with only
100%.
10 games. And now it's 14 games, and they think, oh, we can go whenever.
Yep, and also to your point, you've nailed it about the difference in the markets. There's no question about it. And then also, international cricket comes to a standstill pretty much around IPL time. It doesn't happen in the Big Bash. There's a lot of international cricket. So you mean the overseas talent, a lot of the good overseas talent is not available. And now it's even harder with the CSA 20. South Africa have got
Yeah.
their league and the UAE have got their league at the same time,
Yeah.
along with Bangladesh too. So
Yeah.
all of those countries have their own
Plus,
leagues.
even Australian main stars are not available because of the test
100%
matches and
spot on.
international series. Yeah.
Spot on. So you talk about the public as well. What they need is short, sharp tournament in the school holidays. Make it really easy for them to get to games. Market them really well, and let's give some love to the Big Bash again. I'll talk as well about the ticket prices for Australia matches in this tournament. Well over $100 for a lot of the tickets. It's
Yeah.
crazy. You look.
Yeah.
What about the cost? You look at the cost of living here in Australia right now. Power prices are up. Everything's up. Petrol prices up. It's so expensive, and you're asking people to fork out $100+ for a ticket. In addition to
Australia
food,
don't even perform.
Australia don't perform, but in addition to food, in addition to travel costs, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff as well. It's a very expensive night out on a weeknight when you got work or school the next day.
Yeah.
You got to understand your audience better. The administrators
Absolutely. And
understand your audience
absolutely.
better. Um, and also as well, I don't think T20 is the most popular format in the country. I would say. I still think
Yeah.
Test cricket is the champion format.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's been really crappy and flat. And if we make the semi-finals from here, the whoever it is who plays us from Group 2 will be very happy with that.
So you're really banking on Sri Lanka tomorrow.
We have to. We've got to bank on Sri Lanka now.
Yeah.
They're out of the
Yeah.
tournament, and England are playing well now. They're a very good side.
Yeah.
But I think if Australia do make it, either India, South Africa, whoever makes it from Group 2, whoever plays us, I think they'll have an easy ride to the final, given the way we've been playing.
It depends. It depends. As I said, who Sri Lanka hates more, whether it's England, who almost ruled them for a few hundred years, or it's Australia for calling Murali a chucker back in the 90s. And
Yeah.
it all hinges on that. And
Yep.
yeah. As you said,
Crappy.
in Sri Lanka's coach Chris Silverwood, somehow it's worked for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, they've been
Did
they've been
not
playing
work
well.
out
They're
for England.
Asia Cup
Yeah.
champions, and yeah, good on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's been it was an interesting game to watch today, especially with the way Afghanistan were going. They were, as you said, it was theirs to lose. And
They lost it rather than us winning it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, Charbel, this has been a lovely evening. Not for
Not
you,
for me,
I
mate.
suppose, but
I've never felt
from
so
a World Cup
flat.
point of view.
I don't think I've ever felt so flat after victories in this tournament. I don't know. Maybe the
Yeah.
89 run loss
I
caused
can
that.
feel you. I felt that
Yeah,
last year, so I felt that last year.
yeah. It's just been flat,
Yeah,
eh? So I don't know.
yeah,
Well,
I felt that during the IPL as a Mumbai Indians fan as well.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, go
Yeah,
Sri
no,
Lanka.
I'm there. Yeah, we'll go Sri Lanka. No, thank you, Charbel. Thank you,
Thanks, buddy.
for doing this. It's almost 11:30 here in Australia, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Sri Lanka beats England tomorrow, and we get to watch another Australia game where they throw another game.
I don't know if it, I
Let's
don't know,
just
I don't know, I don't know if that's a good thing, but anyway, I get what you're saying. All
yeah,
right,
absolutely.
all right.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, Chabel. Hope you
Thank
are
you.
having fun listening to us, and we'll keep coming back and reviewing and talking about some cracking cricket in the World Cup and more in the summer ahead. Thank you all.